In the autumn of 1982, America felt safe in its homes. There was a trust in the products that lined the shelves of its grocery stores and pharmacies. A trust that was about to be shattered by an act of unimaginable, random terror. This is the story of a phantom killer who turned a trusted household remedy into a deadly weapon. It's a crime that sparked a nationwide panic, launched a massive investigation, and changed the way we live. This is the chilling, unsolved mystery of the 1982 Chicago Tylenol murders. Our story begins on the morning of September 29th in a suburb of Chicago. 12-year-old Mary Kellerman woke up with a sore throat and a runny nose. Her parents gave her one extra-strength Tylenol capsule. Minutes later, she collapsed on the bathroom floor. She was pronounced dead shortly after. Doctors were baffled. They suspected a stroke, a tragic but unexplained medical event. That same day, in another suburb, a 27-year-old postal worker named Adam Janus felt a minor pain. He took a Tylenol from a new bottle he had just purchased. He collapsed and died instantly. His family rushed to his home to grieve. His younger brother Stanley and Stanley's wife Teresa were distraught. Suffering from headaches brought on by the stress, they took Tylenol capsules from the very same bottle. Within minutes, Stanley was dead. Teresa died 2 days later. 3 deaths in one family from one bottle. Still, no one had made the connection. The deaths were a tragic, horrifying coincidence. But the phantom was not done. In another town, a new mother named Mary Reiner took a Tylenol. She collapsed and died. A United Airlines flight attendant named Paula Prince bought a bottle on her way home from the airport. She was found dead in her apartment. The city of Chicago was in the grip of a silent, invisible plague. 7 people were dead, all from sudden, unexplained causes. The pieces of the puzzle were scattered across the city. No one knew how they fit together. The breakthrough came from 2 off-duty firefighters in neighboring towns who were friends. Then, Keyworth asked a question that would change everything. One was Arlington Heights firefighter Philip Capitelli. He was discussing the strange Janus family deaths. There was a stunned silence on the other end of the line. His friend, Richard Keyworth, from Elk Grove Village, mentioned the mysterious death of Mary Kellerman in his own town. The red and white capsules were not filled with pain reliever. Over the phone, they began comparing notes. Did any of your victims happen to take Tylenol? They realized the horrifying connection. They immediately alerted the authorities. The alarm was raised. Investigators collected the Tylenol bottles from the victims' homes. They were sent to a lab for testing. The killer had turned the American medicine cabinet into a weapon. The results were terrifying. They had been opened, and the powder inside was replaced with a lethal dose of potassium cyanide. Their most trusted brand was now a symbol of death. Each capsule contained enough poison to kill a person 1,000 times over. This was not an accident. This was murder. A new kind of terror gripped the nation. The public announcements were unprecedented. Police cars drove through Chicago suburbs using loudspeakers. Do not take Tylenol, they warned. There's a poisoner at large. The manufacturer, Johnson & Johnson, faced a corporate nightmare. They made a critical and now legendary decision. They put public safety before profits. They issued a massive nationwide recall of every single bottle of Tylenol. 31 million bottles were pulled from shelves. The cost to the company was over $100 million. But their quick action undoubtedly saved countless lives. A nationwide panic began. People threw away all their medications. Hospitals were flooded with calls from terrified citizens. The trust between a consumer and a product, a trust that is the foundation of modern life, was shattered. The investigation was one of the largest in American history. A massive task force was assembled. The FBI and local police worked around the clock, trying to hunt down the phantom killer. They quickly ruled out contamination at the factory. The poisonings had only occurred in the Chicago area. Their theory was chilling. The killer had gone from store to store, buying bottles of Tylenol off the shelf. At home, he would have carefully opened the capsules, replaced the powder with cyanide, and then returned the poisoned bottles to the stores. He would place them back on the shelves, creating deadly booby traps for random, unsuspecting customers. The motive was a complete mystery. The victims had nothing in common. The act seemed to be pure, random terrorism. Then a new piece of the puzzle emerged. Johnson & Johnson received an extortion letter. The letter, written by a man, demanded $1 million to stop the killings. The police now had a suspect. They launched a nationwide manhunt for the man who wrote the letter. His name was James Lewis. He was a disgruntled tax accountant with a history of mental health issues. After a long search, Lewis and his wife were found in New York City, and he was arrested. But a problem quickly emerged. Lewis admitted to writing the letter to embarrass his wife's former employer, but he vehemently denied being the poisoner, and police could find no physical evidence to link him to the actual crimes. Lewis was convicted of extortion and served 13 years in prison. Prime's the prime suspect to this day. But he was never charged with the 7 murders. The case grew cold. In the aftermath, Johnson & Johnson knew they could only relaunch Tylenol if they could guarantee its safety. They brought the product back, but not in a simple bottle. They brought it back in a fortress. They introduced the first triple-sealed, tamper-proof packaging. It was a revolution in consumer safety. A glued box, a tight plastic seal around the neck of the bottle, and a foil seal over the opening. This system, which we now take for granted, was invented because of this one horrific crime. It soon became the industry standard for all over-the-counter medications, food products, and more. The U.S. Congress also passed a new law, the Tylenol Bill, making malicious product tampering a federal crime. The legacy of the Tylenol murders is all around us. It's in every safety seal we break. The crime changed the relationship between companies and consumers, setting a new standard for corporate responsibility. But the central mystery remains. The case is still officially open. Who was the Tylenol murderer? Was it James Lewis, the extortionist, or was it someone else entirely? A phantom who committed a perfect crime and simply vanished? We may never know. The anonymous killer who held a nation hostage with a bottle of pills was never brought to justice. They left behind a legacy of fear, but also one of innovation, safety, and resilience. It is a chilling reminder that evil can appear in the most ordinary of places, and that the simple act of trust we place in the world around us is incredibly fragile.